We should be live now. So we're good to go with starting the economic recovery support recovery task force for June 9th, 2020. Just a real quick round of introductions, and then we'll get into kind of the purpose behind the meeting and give the task force a chance to ask questions of the folks who are in the room here. The Economic Recovery and Support Task Force is comprised of roughly 10 people throughout the community. They're business owners or they're part of a financial institution. Somehow, one way or another, they have an interest in Stevensville's success. So they were invited back in March to join the task force to kind of give advice to the administration in the town on economic situations and recovery pieces and all of those things fun in the economy in the COVID world. We do have one new member with us today, and that is Jen. Say your last name for us, Jen. Bernowski, okay. Jen joins us from Bidder Disposal, correct?
Yes, correct.
Brian Hoffman, the district manager, also represents Bidder Disposal on the task force. He and Jen are kind of tag teaming the task force. So this is Jen's first meeting. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The other task force members we have on the board are Chris Komar. Chris joins us from the Tourism Business Improvement District. Anthony Devlin joins us from Easy Personnel, Chamber of Commerce, and the Town Council. For the task force's benefit, I'd like to give the three individuals who are here with us in this room a chance to introduce themselves. These folks were all involved in submitting the Montana Main Street application to the Department of Commerce back when the Main Street Association Board of Directors made the decision to close the stores and shift this program. So they pulled that application together, presented it to the Town Council, got it off and running. That application has been approved, and from our last meeting, there were some folks who had some questions and wanted some more feedback from these three individuals. So with that, I'll let Loie introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
I'm Loie now. I've been here 15 years. Loved what Main Street was doing, so that's why I was involved in that project. To get a study to figure out how we can create a viable Main Street. I'm retired. I sell things at the Rivers West Gallery, and I run coding for kids.
I'm Dr. Amy Berglund. I am active care family chiropractic on Main Street, Stevensville. I've been in practice here for 12 years and have a vested interest in making sure Stevensville are maintained viable and small business friendly. And so I was a big part of the Main Street Association, and when it was going through its follies, definitely joined hands up with you guys to make sure we got some money.
I'm Bob Cumming. I'm a grant writer, past president of Municipal, and I've adopted Stevensville as my hometown. So I got here 11 years ago, and want to do whatever I can, volunteer to make sure their businesses and families are successful. And so here we are.
Sorry, we're having complaints that the audio is bad on our. Try to fix that.
Have you paid the monthly bill?
No. That might be part of the problem.
You're part of this group, aren't you? You've been part of this group for a while.
Try that. Do the best we can. We're doing the best we can, Jamie. I think it might partially be your problem, not ours, as much as I'd like to take responsibility for it.
You did something right because I.
Totally fine now?
Yep, totally fine now.
Okay. Don't move, whatever you do.
What happened to this?
Like a statue.
Jumped out. Okay. So, like I mentioned before we did introductions, the primary purpose of this meeting was to give the task force a chance to ask these three individuals questions about the application specifically, about what they saw as a vision for when they wrote the grant. Whatever your questions are, I know that there were some board members who were task force members who I think had some questions, and they're not able to join us today, and so we'll hopefully hear from them one way or another. But task force members who are here, do you have anything you want to start off with?
Would you run down the, what the grant was? And I was correct?
Jen, let me send you the application.
Oh, perfect.
That way you have an idea what the heck we're talking about. Jen, I'll send you the application here shortly. Let me find it.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, why don't you summarize what we did? You're good.
Once Main Street closed, we felt that the reason that it closed is it was not sustainable. All the time we were asking businesses for money, and that got to be a tiresome thing for both sides, for the businesses, because they didn't have the money to give us, and also for us, trying to get the money. So this grant became available, and what we thought was, let's try to find out where the successful programs are, the successful Main Street programs are, and why they're successful, why they're sustainable, how do they do it. I have several theories on it based on what I've heard, and whether or not that would work here in Stevensville is the question. And so the grant was to bring those ideas to a group, and we did form a group of people, thanks to Amy and so on. But we haven't met yet because the grant, we didn't get, we got funded, but we didn't have any money to work with. And so we couldn't hire anybody to do that type of research. And so what we're trying to do is find that individual to do the research, to find out the successful programs, and see if we can replicate those here in Stevensville. If we can have another Main Street or whatever we want to call it. And if we can't, we can't. But we need to do something for our businesses here. And especially now with the virus, and they've been closed for 2.5 months, it is terribly important for us to provide any money that we can. Is it 5093?
59870.
59870, okay, I never remember that. That group has put together, and they've written the grant and received it. Victoria Powell has received it, or will receive it. And we have taken also $6,000 out of a scholarship fund that I started, Ned Larson Scholarship Fund, to help support businesses. And so we are now, and if I may go further on this,
Yeah, I think that the benefit of the task force is kind of having to get.
and Brandon and I have spoken about this. The state has said that they are willing to be very reasonable on how this money is used. And given the fact that at the time that it was written, we didn't have the virus, businesses were not closed, and so on. But now we have that. And so an idea, a suggestion, is that we redirect that money to businesses that need it for rent, for utilities, or whatever, to keep them going, and make up the difference with what they lost, and then go back to the state and ask for additional resources for the study. And I would think, because the state has said that they are interested in being reasonable on how the money is spent, I would hope that they would take a look at what we're trying to do here for our town, and then come back and say, you know, we have some additional resources that we can do for the study. So I think the study now is a second option. I think helping our businesses is the first option.
Jamie, do you know, is the relief, business relief fund still receiving requests?
I haven't seen a
I haven't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen a report about
Sorry, you were garbled there. But I think, I agree, I haven't seen a request either, come through.
Do you know how much money they received and how much they've given out, what pool is that's left?
Well, there was an original email that came out from the state when we received our report.
Not ours,
I'm sorry.
the
From the business
59870.
This is.
Oh, no.
How much did they originally get? How much did they raise? I know they were raising money locally.
Yes.
And they've been distributing it, but, you know, if they have 20,000 in the bank, they don't need the Main Street money. If they got $5 in the bank, they do.
Well,
If there are requests.
exactly. And I'm not sure if we're talking about funding them necessarily, as opposed to the city receiving the grant. Okay, I mean, it's two different things.
Well, I guess the reason I asked about the business relief fund was that would give us an indication as to what the demand was for businesses that needed cash in hand.
Right.
And there's, I mean, I have not seen a request come through since.
June 1st was the last request we had.
Okay, so it's been.
And that was our 11th request.
That was our 11th request, yeah. And we still, I don't know how much, but we do still have some money left in that fund. Victoria didn't say what it was and how much our balance was in this email. But I guess what I was after was, is we if we knew what the demand was from businesses, how much cash they need to get by, we know whether there was a need for this money to go towards that cause, or if there's a need for the funding to go towards the planning effort, so that when things like the business relief fund and those types of ventures expire, there's a plan in place to take care of folks.
Right.
Well, I know that Gretchen Spees has, quote, taken on the idea of running First Friday and Scarecrow. She felt those were the two really important things. She was waiting to hear if people were interested in First Friday. You know, the question is, are the things that Main Street did and the things that we're missing now, like First Friday. Should we be planning those and figuring out exactly as you said, that's gonna bring back our spirit, our, community togetherness, and hopefully improve businesses. I don't know that they feel that. I don't know that the businesses feel that way.
I think, if I may interject, one of the things that was interesting to me about First Fridays when I was with Main Street was that it always seemed like, we were asking for money, we were asking for, whatever. And my sense is that if businesses are interested in First Fridays for business, for their business, they need to step up and do something. As an example, the restaurants, they have First Friday specials. Okay. The breweries have First Friday specials. Okay. We have the links with the news media to promote that. That's not an issue. Okay. It's the issue is what are the businesses doing? How are they stepping up to do this? I mean, we can say we're going to offer First Friday all day long, but what is it? Okay, well, it's First Friday, and all of the restaurants have 20% off. All the restaurants have specials. All the breweries have certain things. That is, in my sense, that's where we need to go. And there's no expense to that. I mean, it's the businesses that are going to receive the benefit. Then that's the idea. But they've got to step up and say, okay, here's what we're going to offer. And the art galleries.
We loved First Friday.
Yeah, any one of these things, But it has to be a joint effort. It can't be just it's First Friday and we're going to advertise it and that's that. That doesn't work. There's got to be.
The hardware store has to participate.
Right. There's got to be a there. Okay. And there is a there. And that was the thing that kind of bothered me was that we didn't have people. We were doing all the work. Main Street was doing the work and advertising and so on. But what was there?
Participation. Aside from staying open late.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we asked them to, and I mean, we asked them to put, something out on the sidewalk, anything, to show a difference, so that First Friday was something different than First Thursdays,
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to catch for whatever reason.
What about like an indicator, like, every business that participates in something like that gets a balloon and they just hang it on their soundboard so that people know that they're participating and encourage them to,
No, it's and so that's a recruiting effort. That's a recruiting effort.
But that has to be part of the study.
Yeah.
Okay, hardware store. What would incent you?
Or look at Phillipsburg, what do they do for First Friday? How do they get their businesses?
How do they
advertised
get,
Instead of having it all on one person's lap.
Yeah.
All this blood, sweat, and tears, and then home the store like, nah, I guess it's this time.
Right.
Like you need to have a vested interest.
Right.
Like, that was kind of a downhill spiral. Like, me and my business, I'm not gonna be open on First Friday. I'm not gonna do an adjustment on Friday night. I'll probably go to the brewery. I'm not gonna be open.
But now we're gonna have a distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, I feel like that's what the study could have been.
Oh, exactly.
And what the expectations.
Oh, I was just, sorry, it's hard for me to hear when people are talking, so I apologize. You know, what they do with is they actually have First Friday around, so somebody in the chiropractic office could host an artist, and it's sort of like that's part of First Friday as an art walk. So that might be a good way to sort of give other businesses that maybe wouldn't otherwise be open after 5 a reason to have almost like every Friday, First Friday.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna turn the volume up.
I was just curious too. I know that a lot of the business sort of coalescing and getting all the businesses on the same page is often done by the Chamber of Commerce. And I know Stevensville Main Street Association was, you know, more focused on events and bringing people to Stevensville. I'm wondering if maybe it might be prudent to have almost a joint organization that unites all the businesses in addition to kind of supporting community events. Maybe it was too specific to have Stevensville Main Street focus on strictly events, or maybe it evolved to be that way. But maybe a Chamber of Commerce might give more benefit to local businesses and be able to kind of have it be the voice of local businesses in addition to driving economic recovery. But again, that was
I can kind of speak to that
Go ahead, Jamie.
for a second regarding the chamber. So the chamber does not, they put together after-hour events for members for networking purposes. Down here in Hamilton, the Hamilton Downtown Association is in charge of those kinds of events and more of the First Friday, so to speak. So I think it is prudent to have a special or a separate organization than the chamber. They're more member driven. They're more after hours business, ribbon cutting, new business kind of a deal, rather than they're not event planners, right?
Sure.
So there is still that piece that's missing, is the event planning, and an organization or people that are going to dedicate their time monthly to an event. We can go and ask businesses to participate. But I can speak, I'm a business owner, and to have one more thing to work on a month, it is a big deal. So there has to be that rallier out there that here's our theme for the month. Here's our, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's in their face.
Right.
To get, participate. That is not a chamber. That's not something that the chamber does.
Got it.
But rather, it's, we need a group. We need a group of people that rally for the businesses. That's in essence what's needed.
Right.
Pull something like that off and make that effective for everybody. And that's just my opinion. Being, in the Valley for 7 years and kind of seeing how that works. I think we need a team, a committed team, not one person, but a committed team.
No, I appreciate that distinction, Jamie, and you're exactly right. I was more speaking to kind of Bob's comments about the businesses not really being interested in participating, and I think you're right. Somebody needs to kind of rally that and be the driving force behind that participation.
I think that what brings us back to this grant is that we talk about an organization or a group that's dedicated to promotion, right? To the promotion events specifically. And part of the reason for this grant was to find out, could an organization like that be sustainable? Because our past experience has proven that an organization who focuses its efforts on those types of efforts, it can't be sustained without, largely without support of its local government body.
Sure.
The Main Street model suggested that 30% of its funding come from its local government. In years that was doable and that was successful, the organization saw more success than in years that didn't see support from the city. So I think that's an important question that the study probably needs to address, is what does it look like from the local level? How is it supported? funded by. Because events don't bring in money necessarily for operations, they bring it in for the businesses, it's promotion. And that's how it should be.
But it also creates a community spirit.
Right.
I mean, I don't make any, well, okay, Rivers Fest does make money on First Friday. But Scarecrow Festival, 5,000 people coming to town, everybody's creative, they've created these amazing artistic pieces. I mean, that's what makes our town something special. I really miss this. You know, now we're just, well, I mean, now it's virus, so it's different. But, you know, over the last year, I really missed that.
Community together.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, and First Friday, you know, you meet, Bob at the distillery and
It all goes back.
you know, it's just
Bringing people together.
It's bringing
Yeah.
people together, and yes, it has an impact on business, but you also are having people live here and move here because it has that spirit.
Well, it's family. I think one of the things we always have to keep in mind is what are we doing for our families? With the kids. So First Friday, what do the kids get to do? You know, they get face paint, they get whatever. Okay? What do the parents get to do? And we have to figure out things like that to make it worthwhile to bring people in. Because the more people we bring in, I mean, you know, last year we brought in 2,000 people into Western Heritage Days. We generated $6,000 that we gave to the school, and I mean, and that was hard at all. I mean, you know, we had it done, and so that model works, and we just need to figure out, and maybe it's not every month First Fridays. I mean, it's, you know, every other month First Friday. I mean, it gets to be a chore. Trust me, because I was on the promotion committee for 3 years. It gets to be a chore to come up with something else, you know, every First Friday. So maybe it has to be, you know,
Or it's just.
yeah, right, or whatever, however it works. But it needs to have the joint participation and a theme like Western Heritage Days, or like Great Picnic, or like Scarecrow Festival, you know, those types of things.
I always come back to thinking like an incentive for the people attending the businesses. I don't know why I keep thinking like these, you know, like these punch cards that the businesses participate. Now you're promoting the businesses, you know, the families are going from like, you know, if you visit 5 different places, and then the businesses have an incentive, like one does face painting, one does this, and if you visit, you know, I'm just throwing a 5 out there, then they get their card put in a drawing for this, you know? It's kind of like bringing everybody an incentive to the businesses, to the people.
Well, that's what, you're exactly right. And so we need to come up with I love the word, gimmick.
Yeah, I know what you
We
mean.
need to come up with a gimmick of how we can bring people in, what they're going to do, what they're going to get, and what the business is doing. Okay. So that's the fund that is in my mind, that's the fundamental operation. And you know, Scarecrow Festival is a gimmick. Come on, it's a gimmick. You know, brings people in. The businesses design things, you know, and
It's more than a gimmick. I
Well,
mean,
but
each
it-
of
but
those
it-
teams,
yeah,
you know, like the hiking group does it brings the hiking group together.
but it's a gimmick.
I could clarify that.
Yeah.
Throwing it all back.
It's a gimmick to get people into the town and to get families involved. That's the, okay. So we have to think of things like Scarecrow Restaurant, Western Heritage Days, Creamery Picnic, and so on. I mean, we've got those things. Those things are all set in cement. All we have to do is do them. And if we come up with a couple of other things, you know, a spring fest or whatever it happens to be, we can cover every other month.
You know, the guys with the cars love to get together and show those off.
Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Oh, I just said, you know, everybody with the classic cars, Missoula will often have those like hot rod shows too, and they're really well attended. So you get a bunch of people with classic cars that, you know, want to pull them out in springtime, and you can have a classic car rally downtown and have street vendors and, you know, all kinds of, because I would go see that. I'm just, of course, thinking of things that might be family events too. You can take the kids down and look at the cars. So has anybody reached out to Linda McCarthy at the Missoula Downtown Association in Missoula?
No,
Okay,
not from our, I don't think from our group necessarily, no. I think that this backs us, and I think this is probably the point Lloyd was getting to, was this backs us up to, you know, there are a plethora of ideas of what downtown events could look like, how all that looks. But we go back to the same question of who's going to do that and how is it funded? And then back into the study, which it sounds like we're ready to proceed in some way on. And I'd be curious to hear how, when you guys put the application together, how you envisioned that working. Was there a consultant you had in mind to bring in, or was it, I guess, what did that look like?
well, I'm thinking that somebody who's gone through this process before might be a really good resource to kind of help guide us in the direction of maybe what resource we could use to funnel those funds into a study. I know, and I bring up Linda McCarthy just because I lived in the Bitterroot for 18 years, but I'm back in Missoula here, but I've had the benefit of working in Missoula for the last 20 plus years and have watched the downtown of Missoula grow significantly. And she started out as a one-woman organization and has grown that and grown downtown Missoula. I mean, we thought, what was it, probably 18, 20 years ago, that Missoula downtown was dying and nobody wanted to rent space down there, and nobody wanted, you know, it was Reserve Street. That's what everybody was, you know, because land was cheap and they were opening businesses out there. And I just know that she's a wealth of information. And if you'd like for me to, I would be happy to reach out to her and see if we can get some guidance from her on what would be the best use of those resources to sort of narrow down what would be best for Stevensville.
Well, I think, though, we still have an offer on the table that made, that this money could go towards rent that's required, and we could reapply. The question is, I think we're evaluating is that needed? Or should we go ahead with the study? I think that's a fundamental question. And I'm hearing people say we should do the study.
Yeah, I agree. I think if the business relief fund isn't seeing an abundance of requests that they're not able to handle, then I think that our money's best spent getting something into place so that when that money does expire, we have a plan. We have somebody who can take care of it. Right? I think Jen's suggestion, Jen, if you're willing to reach out to Linda, that would be great.
Yeah.
A tremendous asset. They're just up the road, and I think that'd be great to make that.
Right. I just know that she was working with no funds and as a single office. So, you know, she does have a lot of experience in doing a lot with little.
Sure. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
I had heard that you had put together a team. Is there a team ready to do this study, or?
We have, well, you gave me a list of names. If you remember.
It's the before Christmas.
So I have a list of names. There they are right there.
I thought we had also talked about reaching out to Tosh.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. I think that a first step would be, at no expense, would be to talk to Tosh. And to sit down and to say, okay, we've got the grant. here's some other needs. How flexible are you? Okay. And in the grant, when I wrote the grant, when we wrote the grant, one of the things was to do that. Step number one was to contact the state and find out where the sustainable programs are. Okay. And I mean, there's no reason for us to go and do a mailing list and, you know, whatever else. They know. I understand from one source that in Wyoming, there's a very successful Main Street program. I don't know where it is, but it's very successful. What I also understand is that one of the things that makes it successful, makes these programs successful, is the fact that they, I hate the word, but they do a levy on the businesses based on square foot. So it's a one-time charge. So you're not going back to the business every other month and asking for another $200.
It's a yearly,
I'm sorry?
yearly?
Yes.
We have the ability to put in a business improvement district. That's how a lot of Hamilton is funded, is they have the geographic boundary around their downtown, and those businesses pay an assessment based on, it can be based on their taxes, or it can be based on the sort of linear footage of their frontage on a street.
Right.
And they pay a fee every year into a fund that maintains the organization.
Right.
And I know I've had a discussion about this concept with Councilmember Devlin. She happens to be in favor of the concept, and because she appreciates the fact that she would be hit up every month, right, for funding, and that she, you know, it would be more simple for her.
Right.
She'd be willing to pay that tax, for example. But we don't know how the rest of the businesses feel about that. I think the study may be able to answer that question.
Right.
Well, there would be some.
Right.
Nice.
Well, but I think those are the questions we need to ask of the state, of successful programs, how are they running, and so on, because they're the ones that are funding it. You know, so they know where they are.
We had also talked about taking a field trip to one of these locations.
Oh, I thought field trips were great.
Several.
A school bus.
It was cool. Well, no, I mean, and that's what the consultant would do, is that they would make a trips to meet with the main people, you know, and come up with a formula, come back with a plan, and you know.
We can have our staff, I'll have Monica reach out to Commerce and get some answers to some of the questions that have been asked today.
We have Tosh. Does he want to field trip down to Steve and I?
We'll talk to him about that. So I don't know how much traveling they're doing out of Illinois right now, but he may be able to just join us on Zoom.
Well, or I'd be more than happy to go up to Helen. You know, I've never met him, so I'd like to meet him.
Sure.
Yeah. But I'd be willing to do that, you know, at no expense to the city. I'll just make it.
But it sounds like we need to figure out how we're going to implement this.
Well, yes, I agree. But I think the first step is to talk to Tosh and find out where these places are, what the formulas are, and so on. And then present that to whoever we decide is going to do this study. And the other thing is, too, very curious thing to me, and I've written grants for 20 years. They didn't have how much we could spend on personnel. They didn't say how much we could spend on travel. They didn't say how much we could spend on whatever. And I find that very curious because most grants have limits on things, okay? And insurance, blah, blah, blah. And this thing didn't ask for any of that, you know? So that's another question that I think that I would like to opposed to Tosh, or his staff, whoever. Mackenzie, I talked with Mackenzie before.
Some of that they outlined in the contract with us.
Yeah.
In the new grant
Yeah.
contract.
And then the other thing is too, that it was not specifically stated that this was all reimbursable, that the city had to pay for it first. And so my question is, I know that when, because I wasn't at the meeting, but I know Victoria was at the meeting when it was, the grant was proposed to the city, and we said that, you know, we were submitting it, that it wasn't going to cost the city anything. Well, now, because it's reimbursable,
It's still not gonna cost us.
well, it's
just
not,
like-
no, but you still have to pay, you still have to put the 10,000 out.
Every grant we deal with, with Department of Commerce on is that.
Well, I understand that, but,
So we know, I mean, the city knows when it approves a grant, that's how.
okay, that's-
We just know that, and that's part of business with the state. The
Yeah.
state never gives us money without
okay.
us giving them a receipt
And
first.
I understand, okay, I understand that, but it was not stated in the grant when I wrote it, and then when we submitted it to the city, you know, there was no cost to the city. So I just wanted to make sure that that's where that's going to work.
So I'd like to give the task force members who are over this on Zoom a chance. Do you guys have any last thoughts on what you've heard so far?
I definitely think the discussion that the grant money should probably be allocated to the study, because while I think that it's important to support local businesses, that's a one-time shot in the arm rather than, you know, investing in a long-term benefit for everybody, because, you know, hopefully we're not going to be dealing with this for the next, you know, 6-8 months. We'll be back to normal, hopefully, or something. But again, I think that investing in a long-term plan is a much better use of those grant monies than, although, you know, if somebody did need support, obviously, but it sounds like there's a lot of federal and state programs still out there for businesses to help with that. So that money isn't their only recourse if they're struggling financially. So maybe just on a case-by-case basis, that could be evaluated.
Jen, that's a really good point. Thank you.
Anything else from Jamie or Chris, Omar?
This is Chris, and I think that conversation is interesting, and it reminded me of what might happen if we do the study. There'll be lots of conversations like this, and that's kind of, I think, the purpose of the study is to get a vision, a common vision, and to better understand, you know, how to get everything pieced together so that it functions and is sustainable. So I'm not a Stevensville person. I'm a tourism person representing tourism here, but I agree with Jen that the long-term strategy is going to be more, I think, useful to businesses than immediate infusion of funding. But I think where we
I'll
end,
pop in. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
I am.
Go ahead, Jamie.
To be quite honest, I've only heard maybe a quarter of this whole meeting. So if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably right. I just want to throw in, I'm mixed on using the money for another study. I know there's been several studies done on downtown Stevensville and businesses and what they need. So I'm not sure that the best route is to do that again. While I say that, I'm equally intrigued by the outcome of that. I've gone around now on two occasions in the last probably month to some different Stevensville businesses and spoken with them. They all want something. They all want help, but I don't think anybody knows what that looks like. I don't know that there's a clear tool or resource that has been identified to help the businesses in Stevensville equally. So I think that's going to be a very big key piece in no matter how we move forward, whether it's through events or through a study, or it seems like either way, there's a chunk of businesses in Stevensville that are left out one way or the other. So however the money is used or whatever direction we go in, I think we need to look at more than just tourism, more than just helping out our bars and restaurants, more than just helping out retail, more, there's a whole group and there's a lot of businesses here. They're equally deserving of attention. So I just think we need to keep that in mind moving forward.
I think that that was a real issue with Main Street, was that we were so focused on Main Street and we didn't touch any of the businesses out on Main Street, and they're in Stevensville. We didn't touch the food and grain place down here outside of town. They're in Stevensville. If they're in the Stevensville zip code, those people we need to serve.
But we were not serving A to Z personnel, we were serving the restaurants. And,
Right.
Because the point of the Main Street program, as it began, was to revitalize the downtown core to save the tax base for the city. In any community, but that was the driving force for Stevensville. So I think that's why the focus was downtown rather than other areas, because that was the goal of the program. So I think when the program shifts its goals from serving just downtown to surrounding areas, we need to adapt the program to that. Didn't necessarily have the tools to do it. So.
Well, and as you just mentioned, there are businesses that felt left out, and we can't have that. We can't have that. We have to be inclusive and not exclusive. Inclusive and not exclusive. And,
Great.
all right,
Well, with shortly, 8 minutes to spare, I think that this is a good start. We'll get some questions answered from the state to try to light a fire under getting a study underway. And we'll reconvene the economic task force next week and provide updates on what everybody's kind of working around and doing on. So with
and I
that,
would like to continue working on this.
absolutely, that sounds great. Yeah, I don't think the task force has any intent to take over the study by any means. I think a separate committee working on that is completely appropriate. So we'll just have you guys work with us in the administration and give us a project. So we can provide updates to the task force too, and if they have any insight, love to bring that back to you guys. All right, I think that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.